Hello. Hello everyone. My name is Einar. I'm from Estonia. I grew up here, actually not far from here. I used to come to this building to play some badminton. I lived in Estonia most of my life. I lived in Slovenia sometime. I helped start some companies, both with partners in Europe, in Slovenia, and US. I've had some quite different experiences, and today I want to talk about something that matters to me, and this is about work. So let's get started. Firstly, a little bit background. I've been in startups close to 20 years. I've been in very many different roles. The only role I haven't been in is a VC. Actually, funnily enough, around 5 years ago with a friend of mine, we considered it, but thought that, okay, that's not a good idea. I've had a couple of different experiences. I've experienced failure. We had a company that we weren't able to generate revenue. We experienced almost failure in terms of we almost went bankrupt, but last year this company was sold for 40 million. I've always started or joined startups. One of them accidentally became a unicorn, so I was a relatively early employee there. So, wait, okay, I see that the timer started ticking as well, and it seems, okay. So, one of very important questions is actually why? And I have a very quick story about this. I went to a job interview several years ago, and I asked the question, why do you think you need this role? Then we started discussing, and they killed it. I didn't kill it in the sense that I got a job, but I actually killed the role, because it turns out that this company didn't need that role at the time. So why is a super important question. Okay, so around 5 years ago, I was working, I exited my previous company and I was thinking what to do next. And I met this really interesting group of people. There was a Harvard-educated lawyer, there was a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, there was a guy who didn't start $1 billion company, but he actually started 3 of them in 3 different industries as well. Then there was a guy who had 80 plus patents to his name. Then there was a guy who has a hedge fund. And I was in that room and thinking to myself, wow, I'm definitely not the smartest guy in the room here. And this is the room that I really wanted to be in. And they had this idea on how to reimagine online gaming. So that's how we started 5 years ago. Today, where are we? We are close to 100 people. We have 4 offices. We have product and engineering here in Tartu. We have around 35 people here. Our headquarters is in Chicago. We have 2 operational offices. We have one in New Jersey and one in Colombia, Bogota. And it's been a fun journey, and it keeps getting more fun. Like for example, just this week we launched our first retail location. This is the happy team there. Colombia is an extremely cash-heavy market, so it's not possible to be successful only in the online. So you need to have a retail location as well. We opened 6 locations. This is how we're starting. I'm also extremely proud to support an angel project called Tutor ID. I see 2 people, so you can wave. And this is a very ambitious project in sense of it's about helping people help themselves. It's kind of a mixture between fintech and edtech. So very exciting where this will lead. potential to help a lot of people. Sometimes things don't go how you expect. So this was me at the 11th hour when I had like 1 hour remaining to submit the slides, and I guess it fits well in the startup scenery that you need to be prepared for stuff. Next, I want to show you a quick video, and there is a story to that video. Is it possible to turn up the volume a bit? So this was our first ad, and we had our team down in LA doing the recording, and then the media company, production company came with the different versions of what to show, and well, we got the different versions, and we were like, crap, we don't like any of them. And then we rejected, and then at some point the company came back, okay, we stumbled upon something that you guys are really gonna love. And we were like, okay, that's nice. They came back and they saw this guy dances. And the funny thing is that this was in none of the scripts. The guy was just having fun. He was dancing around, and then someone thought that, okay, let's give him money, let him throw it around, and then let's keep the cameras rolling. And actually this became our first ad. So that's kind of one of the very important things in a work environment. You need to have fun. If you're not having fun, you know, not good. Next, I have a confession. The confession is that my biggest fear is waking up one day and not recognizing the people that are in the environment that I'm working in, that I don't understand how the decisions are made. And well, the problem is that with success, inevitably comes growth, and this growth needs to be managed. And if you're not managing it carefully, then problems will happen. And even though you can have, I don't know, millions or in revenue, you're still well, in trouble. So the starting point is, and this is, I think, extremely important before we get to the work environment, is that which kind of people you actually include. And personally, I don't really believe that motivation is something that externally can be, you know, made happen. It comes from inside. You have interest, and if you have interest, then you follow your passion, and then this drives your motivation. And if you don't have it, then, you know, problem. So, yeah. Next thing, I have another confession. I love stress. Not all kinds of stress, but I love positive stress. Someone says that this is impossible, and I'm like, okay, let's talk. But there's a fine line, of course, between use and abuse, because you can't run a marathon in a way you're running a sprint. So there's also something like negative stress. Negative stress, a great example is you have something that's supposed to take 5 minutes, and if it takes 3 days, I really don't have much patience or tolerance towards that. And maybe a good example is when we started with engineering office here in Tartu. Initially, I was buying all the stuff on computers, cables, everything, and I was still doing that until we had like 20 people. And then I realized that, okay, something is really wrong. That we have team leads, we trust them with a very important area of the product domain into their hands. And when it comes to cables or, I don't know, monitors or any kind of small equipment that they can just solve, they don't do it, still they come to me. It doesn't make sense. So we gave everyone the credit cards, gave them very simple instructions, treat it as your own money in the best interest of RSI, and that's it. No more negative stress. Things get done quickly. Another great source of frustration to me is that if someone comes to me and says, okay, you need to do this by Monday. Okay, sometimes things happen, completely unexpected, you just gotta do it. But if someone dropped the ball and they actually knew this or could have known this like 1 month before, you know, it's not a pleasant situation. So there are some really easy ways how to manage this. And basically, you have roadmaps, and the entire idea of roadmaps is to really make things boring, predictably boring. And there is one very simple trick that if you look at this y-axis, there is value. If you look at the effort axis, there is, well, effort. And then you can see what is the most important things? What are the most important low-hanging fruits? And you can kind of prevent the situations where someone comes in, hey, I have this great idea, we need to do it. Because then you can ask, okay, but what about everything else that we also need to do? And this just helps to get the great input. I have learned that somehow over time I'm kind of developing these antennas for negative stress and then zooming in, focusing on that and trying to get rid of that negative stress wherever it comes from. In terms of scaling, I kind of, when the company grows, when more people are added, then I kind of see it simplistically that there is two ways how to grow a company. One way is that you have a tanker, and as your company becomes bigger, more successful, more people are added, the tanker also becomes bigger. And ultimately you come to the point that you want to adjust the course like just maybe by 2 degrees. And when this becomes like incredibly difficult, you're like, oh, first think 10 times, do I really want to do that? And alternative is speedboats, right? Self-organizing. And ownership is really the key to everything. This is how we scale RSI. That 2 very important roles, product owner, engineering lead. Of course, they have a healthy amount of conflict, but the key is that they make the decisions in the product domain. Nobody above. And yeah. This has somehow become our motto. Do what makes sense. Don't do what doesn't. The worst thing that you could possibly do is do something that you don't understand why you need to do it. And that's our team. This is here in Tartu. Devils is in the details. There are very many different things. We could talk about it for days. Obviously, we don't have time for that. So I wanted to thank you. It was pleasant. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you, Einar. No, I'm not giving it.
Okay.
They all want this, you know. I come on the stage and they want the money back. It's not money inside.
I thought I did something bad because you were
No, you did all good. So again, I have a personal question. So you said that you don't believe that motivation can be actually triggered with external stuff, that it actually has to come from inside.
Yes.
And that, you know, it's very important that people feel the ownership of the task or the company or whatever they do. So now, you know, tell us, not just me, so you can look at the crowd who is now seeking for the moment of truth. Have you had these situations where you actually don't have motivation and you don't feel the ownership of what you're doing? And what have you done about that?
I jumped off the thing. So, a great question, and yes, I have always been a firm believer that you need to follow the passion. And this is currently my, I think, 3rd or 4th biggest interest area. Risky is that you know, you become good at something, but it doesn't interest you at some point anymore. So you jump, you don't know where you're gonna land. So you just follow your interest. That's my advice. That, at least, you know, that's what I've done.
Okay, so you do need to find something that triggers you, and then it comes from inside.
Well, otherwise it's boring, isn't it?
But what if someone puts this interesting trigger there for you? Then it's external.
It's funny because it reminds me of my mother. And initially she would put me into everything, and I was like, I don't want to go. I really don't want to go. And she's like, you know, first time you're going. If you don't like it, you don't have to go the second time.
Mm-hmm. So you need to have a pusher, someone who pushes you, even if you don't think maybe that it's where you can take the ownership. There's always good when there is some sort of push.
Well, you don't know until you know.
Oh, right. Yeah, I totally agree. I just wanted to trick you into the situation when you're out of answers, but you're not. So thank you, Einar.
Thank you.
Awesome talk.